Hello.
Hello. Right,
Hello.
I'd like to welcome to the show British Talent Cup rider in 19 and 20, and now the Red Bull Rookies in 2021. Welcome to the Superbike Show, Eddie O'Shea.
Thank you.
How's it going, buddy? What have you been doing since the season has ended?
I
saw you were out on a pit bike today, weren't you, at a Sutton racetrack?
Yeah, I was at Sutton a few days ago. They lended the track out to us for the day. Me and a family friend went down on our pit bikes and just had a play about. Been to the gym. My personal trainer has sent me a few equipments, and we've been doing a few online classes together. He's been doing everything he can to help me stay as fit as I can during this lockdown that we're in.
Well, right. What I'm going to start off and say is congratulations on getting the Red Bulls Rookies ride. Were you expecting it, or was it just an absolute total surprise? Or because obviously there was no selection process this year because of COVID. So how did you enter anything, or was it literally just a total surprise?
So we entered into the selection process. Obviously, it couldn't go ahead because of the COVID situation. But I was not expecting it at all. There's likes of riders like, Johan Mir was in it this year, a few years back, and he just won the MotoGP championship.
Yeah, I know.
Kyle Ryder's in it, Brad Ray, all sorts. It's a huge opportunity that I've got for next year in the rookies. We entered a selection process, but it didn't go ahead with COVID, and I just luckily they chosen me to be one of the lucky 9 riders that they chose.
Did you know that there were people from like Red Bull watching you while you were racing in BTC this year, or?
No, absolutely not. Obviously, BTC is still involved with Dorna. Is in the British Superbikes. So Dorna have been watching the past year, and I'm feeling incredibly lucky to be a chosen rider to be in the rookies for next year.
So the calendar's out now. It's like, obviously they're all new tracks to you, but is there any one of them that you're looking forward to riding more than the rest? I can imagine Mugello is one of the ones that you're really looking forward to. Yeah,
well, obviously they're all MotoGP tracks, so it's crazy to think what the tracks I'll be riding. But I am looking forward to Assen.
Yeah.
At the start of this year,
you was meant to be there.
We got announced that we were meant to be there, and then unfortunately COVID hit, and Assen was off the charts. But I've been lucky enough to get another shot at Assen next year.
Yeah. So have you been practicing any of them on the PlayStation yet on MotoGP?
On the MotoGP game, I've been riding as in the Red Bull Rookies as main rider. Yeah, and obviously next year it'll be crazy to think I'll be on the game, and I'll ride as me on practicing on the tracks, which is absolutely nuts.
Obviously, there's been quite a few of our English boys that have raced in Red Bull Rookies before, like you said, Brad and Kyle, and a lot of them have come back, and maybe if they've got time, they'd come and race in what was then GP 125s. Will you come back and do some British Talent Cup rounds if you can get to any?
Yeah, for sure. We've still got our bike. We'll do as many wild cards as we can. Dorna, we're still waiting to announce the CEV ride for next year. It could be anyone.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. But we can't. We haven't been told anything yet. It's still waiting. But we will do as many wild cards in British Superbikes as we can in the British Talent Cup Championship.
So you mentioned the CEV Championship. So do you think you're maybe in with a chance of getting in the British Talent Cup team as well?
Well, obviously
that'd be a bit mind blowing if you got both.
It would be insane to think that they would to pick me for that stage. I feel ready if they were to give me the opportunity. But there's so many riders that they potentially could have scored this year. You know, likes of Franco, Harvey, Charlie, all of them. So you know,
it's really difficult because obviously I see you guys come through the Metrokits, and I got to say, the year you came through 50s and 70s was probably one of the toughest years in Metrokits there's been. Like you said, there's you, Evan, Harvey, obviously Casey as well. So I think the talent through those 2 years of coming through Metrokits is extremely tough.
The likes of Evan was fast in the Metrokits.
They got Bailey as well.
Yeah, Bailey. Casey I rode within the 50s.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were all, you know, breaking lap record after lap record, and it was a crazy year in the 70s. And then I got lucky enough to be chosen for the British Talent Cup in the second year of it with Dorna.
Talking about that, obviously you're one of the few riders, along with Harvey, that rode in the British Talent Cup in like the different formats. So you had the format where you're all in the one big like gazebo, should I say, and then you rode in this year where you were like in your own little teams. Which did you prefer? Did you prefer it as the first format or the second in being in your own team?
Well, there's obviously pros and cons with both of the British Talent Cups layouts. The first year was insane because we got to ride with the MotoGP at Brno and Silverstone, and there was the likes of Scott and Fenton, and you know, the riders that were absolutely insane at riding the Moto3s. Then this year, by ourselves in the motorhome, just with me and my team, it was a completely different experience.
It's kind of like going back to Fab, really, isn't it?
It gave a Fab vibe to BTC this year, but I thoroughly enjoyed it the whole way through this year.
Also, going back to this year, obviously at the start of the year, you were extremely consistent and you were like getting podiums regularly and things like that. But I could tell from the TV you were happy to get them, but I could tell you were really gutted that you just couldn't get that race win. You came so close so many times. Was it really hard through the races to think, oh no, I've got to settle and think of the championship, or was it every time you just wanted that win?
Every time I went out in a race, I always wanted to win. First round, Donington, we got so fortunate for the engine to blow, and we were fortunate enough to have Charlie Farrer's team and Ryan Hitchcock lend us an engine for the weekend. So that was round one out the window. I think I ended the weekend on 2/5. So then I just tried to be as consistent as I can, not crash, score as many points as I can in the races that I was in. But then if you watch the races from BTC this year, you know, red flags weren't on my side. Me and Casey were always battling for the race wins, and both times he came out on top with the red flag situations. But that's racing, and you know, it's all luck, really, isn't it? Obviously, the riders were okay in the crashes, but you know, I really wanted that win, and to lose out by 0.008, I think it was, to Casey.
Snetterton, yeah.
It was devastating at Snetterton.
I think the worst one was Donington in the wet with Harvey. I think you thought you had it because you were absolutely gutted when you got in the pits.
Yeah. I was gutted at Donington. It was pouring down with rain, and down Craners, it was insane. Me and Harvey were both having moments. Going down Craners and up Schwantz, it was nuts. So there was no grip. I was expecting a red flag situation for the amount of rain that was on the track. So every time I crossed the line, I've tried to cross the line in first because I did not want it to happen again. And every lap, I consistently crossed the line in first. And you know, the red flags weren't on my side on that day, and Harvey was making his move every lap to try and get me into the Melbourne loop, and he made it stick around the outside into the final corner and got the drive to the line. But you know, it is what it is. I tried my very best to win in that race. I tried my best to win in every race.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. So going back to the Red Bull rookies this year, obviously it's going to be an absolutely huge learning year for you. You're going to go to every track because you've got to learn. Obviously, it's a totally different Moto3 bike. But what are you like hoping for this season? Obviously, I think you want to try and basically prove you're good enough to get that second year in the Red Bull Rookies where you can take it a bit better.
Yeah, obviously it's completely different bike, completely different manufacturer. Obviously with the Red Bull Rookies, the bike being a KTM, and they're a little bit faster than the Hondas we're riding in the BTC at the minute. But yeah, it could be a completely different bike, and I'm hoping for some podiums and even wins this year.
Really?
Next year, giving it my all for a second year in the Rookies, and maybe even a third if I get lucky enough. But I always feel if you watch the rookie riders on telly, whether that be Mir or like Quartararo, you always prefer the underdog. So you always prefer like the one that shouldn't win, if you know what I mean. So getting a few podiums, I'm hoping should put some praise towards my name, and hopefully give me a second year in the Rookies, like you said.
Yeah. Obviously, you're going to be there with Scott Ogden. Do you know Scott very well? Obviously, you would know him a little bit through Fab, but obviously he's a few years older than you.
Yeah, obviously, me and Scott were in the BTC year one together, the first format. I know Scott fairly well. Obviously, we came through Fab together. We were in BTC last year, so I know him and his dad all right, yeah.
So have you been cracking on with your Spanish yet? Are you fluent in Spanish yet or not?
No, not quite fluent, but I can greet someone. I can greet them.
All right then, Eddie. Well, that is all my conversation with me. I'll hand you over to Tristan if he's got any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm still here. You haven't bored me. But no, obviously, because you're a very new name in racing. You're only 14 years old. What's it like coming up through the ranks so quickly and being where you are at your age? I've
been racing since I was 6 years old, starting in the NMRRC Championship. This is now known as a BMB. Then working my way to Fab, riding a Mini for a few years, and then working my way up through the Metra kits. And then obviously BTC year one, the first format, was a huge step up for me. I've never rode a Moto3 bike before that. And then this year, I gave it my all. After I'm really started pushing this year. I had in my head, you need to win this championship, and I gave it my all. Led the championship for most of the way. Unfortunately, at the last round of Brands Hatch, we had some bike issues with speed. The engine kind of gave way, so it was not up to pace at all. And then in the second race, getting wiped out by Bailey, but no hard feelings towards Bailey. It is what it is, and it's racing. And congratulations to Franco for winning the championship, obviously. It would have been lovely to win the championship.
Yeah, well, clearly, your talent has been spotted because you've been given the opportunity to move up into the Red Bull Rookies, which I'm sure you're excited for as well. But more about the sort of racing in Talent Cup this year. It was pretty much, a lot of the races was pretty much between you and Casey. What's it like riding against a rider so small and light?
Racing against Casey is he's a different rider to the likes of Franco and Charlie. Casey's more of a obviously smaller and lighter. He's a very small lad, and he rides the bike in a different way, so you sort of have to acknowledge the fact how he rides the bike, and you have to follow him for a few laps to see where you can make the pass. So Casey obviously announced that he was in the British Talent Cup this year, coming back from Spain. We went to the test in Jerez, and he blitzed it. He was first by I think over 2.5 seconds, and we all started to question, this kid's fast. And then through the championship, we've all slowly found our pace. Casey is is a good rider, but he's a different rider because obviously he's smaller and he's unlike the heavier riders such as me, Franco, and Charlie.
Do you think that's what kind of caused the, like, I wouldn't say it was neither their fault, but the accidents between Harvey and Casey, just because their riding styles are so different, where Harvey carries a lot of corner speed because of his height and the much he weighs, and just how Casey rides because he's so little, that there's just a coming together because of the different sort of riding styles.
My personal opinion is that it was a racing incident.
Yeah, same.
In the first incident at Donington, Casey tried to stay on the outside. Harvey, obviously, that was his line.
Harvey kind of knew where he was going.
Harvey knew where he was, and he had the power to control where Casey would go.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Harvey pushed him, but I'm just saying
at the end of the day, the track's there for everyone to use. So
the track's there for everyone to use, and I personally think that was Harvey's line. The inside line is always the line to be on, and that's the line Harvey was on. It was a racing incident, and then the incident at Brands when Harvey tried to go on the outside. I think it was the complete opposite. Casey around the outside, Casey at the inside, Harvey around the outside. And they've just came together, and they've both unfortunately came off. I think, like you said though, because they ride so differently, but they're two very aggressive riders.
Yeah.
Then they both want that line at that time. I personally think it was a racing incident.
It was definitely entertaining to see the entire season, really, in Talent Cup as well, Eddie. You were almost winning the championship without winning a race. I know that's not how anybody wants to win it, potentially, but I suppose you were an example, and maybe Dorna picked up on. Well, they obviously did see that. Just being consistent, just being a nice clean rider. You don't have to be elbow to elbow. Knocking each other off. Leave that to the people up front, and you can whiz up and take just regular podiums. And that's how you almost did it up until the last round. And it was interesting to see your reaction as well. It's been commented before about maybe what a mature attitude you had to such a devastating last round at your age as well. So all credit to you for dealing with that disappointment in that way. Although if you were watching live at the time, you're probably forgiven Eddie for not being so calm and controlled. I think the microphone on the Eurosport microphones picked up a couple of words that you said.
No, I think he held it together pretty well, to be honest with you, Lester. If it was the other way, I'd have probably done something a bit worse.
I can't blame you anyway for being a bit disappointed, but within minutes he was fully calm and composed, and Dorna saw exactly that, and also as well, not just the entertainment that you've been providing in the British Talent Cup paddock, but as well on pit bikes in Fab Racing, which we will.
We're not talk about that.
Well, that we're going to talk about next, actually, because Jay King's been diligently preparing a pit bike segment on the show, which we've been sort of teasing people with, and maybe, I don't know if you fancy sticking around too, because you also race alongside Jay, occasionally beat him on pit bikes.
Occasionally. I don't think Jay's anywhere near.
Well, now he's going to be out the country a few weekends this year. I might get a chance to actually win.
I think what was it? I can't remember the category. Was it Ella Park or something where you had an incident at turn 1 or something? And
Luckily, he broke down in that first race, and I managed to win that one.
Is that the one where my rear wheel was loose and I had to pull out?
Yeah. I didn't touch it in the night, I promise.
All I remember is you sort of sat on the floor, kind of like in Fernando Alonso meme style, looking very disappointed with yourself.
I did the crash compilation video, and you nearly wiped out bloody Ryan Hitchcock at the first corner in an extreme race.
I hit Ryan. That's would fall off.
Don't you mean racing incident?
Bike is beyond me. But his bike was so quick. It was tuned to a T, and it just took off in a straight line. So I had to make the move into turn one at Ella, and brakes weren't quite as sharp as I anticipated. And
you're not coming. You're not coming this weekend to B&B, are you, at Ella?
No.
Oh,
no.
Thank God.
We saw you a lot of the time coming from the back of the grid and carving through the field, which was always entertaining to see.
It's because he always chooses the wrong tyres.
Yeah.
Maybe, that's always interesting when you guys do
He
that.
still managed to win it though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there was you and I'm forgetting names now. I should have prepared.
Charlie Nesbitt?
Yeah, Charlie, and
Rossi.
yeah. It's like I wasn't there, but I don't know. It's my old age.
You don't really pay attention though, do you?
No, I'm
it's
just
all down
watching
to me
it.
and Gareth.
Yeah, it was. Well, I've got Tristan in my ear screaming and stuff, doing commentary.
I've got a new bike for next season anyway, so you guys are going to have to watch out.
Well, yes,
We'll see
Jay King, Pit Bike 140, double champion in 2020 and 2019 as well, who will be...
Rossi Banham, that's who we
Rossi
forgot.
Banham, of course, how could you forget?
Eddie did say that like 5 times.
Well, okay, fair enough. But between you all, anyway, you all provided a fantastic
I think
show.
Rossi is in the British Talent Cup next season, so...
That was his intention, I believe. I don't know if it's definitely confirmed, is it?
I think if he can get it sorted on the big bikes, I think he's a good rider because he's very quick on the pit bikes.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, he's Rossi's an interesting lad. For some reason, he's terrified of doing interviews. For some reason, or just doing it interviews with me.
Well, this would be another reason why Eddie got the Red Bull Rookies because I think he's very good with interviews.
That's another reason, of course.
You've got to be the full package, haven't you?
Well,
You're always hard to find though. We could never find you in the paddock to get an interview with you. We only managed it once.
We only
I'm crying for red flags. I'm crying for red flags.
Well, yeah.
That must be it.
Also, I'm going to embarrass Eddie a bit here, but if it was down to dancing as well, he'd get it because I've seen his dance moves in Benetton and he's extremely good.
I could say the same about you, Jay, but I'm not going to think the same way.
Well, I'm trying to get Leicester and Tristan to come at Benetton this year, but they're not having it at the moment.
I'd be down if you've got a bike for me.
I mean,
are you coming this year, Eddie, or will you be too busy testing other things?
Well,
he looks over to say, "Can we go? Oh, can we go?"
It entirely depends on.
I can tell you're looking for your dad, aren't you? To say
I am, yeah. I'm like, are we going? Aren't we going? I want to go. I'd love to go.
Okay, that's a deal, and that sounds like everyone's going. Pending other obligations, but it'd be good to see. I don't know if you will have time between doing any rookies and Talent Cup and to do the occasional fab round to maybe show the other kids, how it's done. Because it's interesting to see as well. Because I've been in the fab.
What are you trying to say, Lester?
Well, okay. I mean, you're in your 30s now, I think, Jay. But But it's interesting to see. I've been in the Fab Paddock since 2016, and I saw a picture on really early on where there was a class photo of the year, and I was like, "Who's that?" And that's oh my god, that's Max Cook. Oh my god, he looks like a little thing. And then you were there as well. I think in 20. I think you were there in 2016 as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
I think you would have been in the Kawasaki livery stuff when Fab did that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, when the teams were involved with BSB.
Yeah, because for a long time you raced on the green liveried Kawasaki type.
Kawasaki livery.
Yeah, that's okay. I remember now. Okay, and it's just interesting to see your progression to now be one of the people still, even though you're still very hilariously young, to still be one of the people that the new generation of kids on the mini motos look up to. It's just weird.
Yeah. Well, the kids on the mini motos now are still beating their lap records. Yeah, they're very fast, and I'm expecting one of them to be at least one of them to be coming up to the British Talent Cup sooner or later. The kids from Fab are tremendously fast on both metric kits and on the minis, but I'm still lucky enough to hold the lap record at Landau on 70, mainly due to the fact that we didn't go there this year.
I think you've probably got some lap records on the pit bike as well from this year. I haven't updated them this year, but I reckon you've taken a few.
I think I've got Wilton.
Have you?
Yeah, I think so, on the mini fit. On the one.
Oh, right. I've got to try and get Roger to update him, but trying to get Roger to do anything on a computer is pretty tough.
Hi, Roger. He's not tuned in. He's not watching. But yeah, Eddie, fantastic to have you on the show and just catch up. And don't be a stranger. I'm sure we will hear about your exploits racing in all the lovely tracks all around Europe and stuff and whatnot. And maybe, I don't know, maybe if you can grace our presence again in Fab Racing, maybe one day.
Absolutely.
That'll be good.
Thank you, Eddie, for being the first person to say yes to me about coming on this show, because all the others just ignored me.
Oh,
no worries, Jay.
Thank you.
But yeah, thank you once again for coming on the show. Eddie, for those who don't know, has been diligently waiting for a good hour before he even was on the show. He was just waiting, which is unlike. Yeah, he's been sat there for a good couple of hours. Well, so have we, but anyway. Thank you for coming on.
Technical difficulties with the camera, so we were rushing around like madmen trying to fix it, but we managed to get it sorted.
I'd imagine you've got like school or something tomorrow or whatever it is that young people do.
School tomorrow.
So we'll let you go. It's getting on a bit, 9:30 and all that. And thank you very much for coming on, Eddie O'Shea.
Cheers,
fantastic
Eddie.
to hear from you. This is the Superbike Show. It is Motorsport Radio, and we will continue right now.